about 2:52. I've got all my equipment, and I'm ready to do this.
At his wit's end, frustrated with a month of calling the cable company over a neighbor stealing his internet, a Florida college student decided to take to the SomethingAwful forums to ask the user base for advice. Within 2 minutes, he would receive a reply that would send him on an insane week-long journey, ending with a house fire and felony investigation. Armed only with a couple retro video game adapters, a cheap soldering kit, and an intense need for the internet, one man set out for revenge. This is the story of user Pimp Solo of SomethingAwful and the Sega Killer.
Alright, I just unplugged the cable. I'm gonna flip the switch. Oh shit! Let's go. Oh, fuck.
Hello, I'm brand new to YouTube but have spent nearly 2 decades being extremely online. Although I feel increasingly out of touch every day, I do have a ton of memories from growing up on web forums in the mid-2000s that I'm going to make videos about. Sega Killer is a great one to kick us off. In 2006, a user named Pimp Solo wrote a post on the website SomethingAwful stating that for about a month he's known that somebody has been stealing his internet, but every time he calls the company, they give him the runaround. Frustrated with disconnections and slow speeds, he finally hit a wall and decided he needed internet. Users suggested some aggressive but by comparison relatively innocuous ways to help, such as cutting it or contacting the police, but those were overshadowed by the very first reply, posted just 2 minutes after the original topic, suggesting he take it to an even more extreme form. A user suggested using an etherkiller, a modified Ethernet cord that can short-circuit the input or, if given enough power, cause a fire. Pimp Solo is immediately interested, with his first post on the topic replying to it and calling it genius. I do think it's important to give context here to the internet in the mid-2000s. The landscape of what was acceptable and what was encouraged was wholly different in a way that I've even forgot about until I read some of these comments for this video. I'm not trying to moralize politics, but I think it's important to understand the separation between reality and the internet people felt then, and how popular actively encouraging illegal and shitty activities for content was. But let's get back to the topic. Pimp Solo's first significant update came by way of posting a rough picture of the backyard with the Ethernet line running through it, quickly followed by a picture of the box and a more detailed photo of where the person had spliced into. Upon posting pictures, the reality of the situation began to sink in and some users voiced their concern, but they were quickly stomped out, and Pimp Solo was about to make his most significant post yet. Pimp Solo posted a picture of his finished homemade etherkiller, which was built from an old Sega video game converter, which users quickly named the Sega Killer. At this point, excitement was building and users were clamoring for an update, with the topic creator riding high on the attention, promising videos and frequent updates. I'm not sure if it's Pimp Solo's assumedly teenage ego swelling from the online attention, but this is where it does get a little dark, as Pimp Solo replies to one of his commenters stating, "I just laughed out loud at the notion of waking up to a smelly charred corpse in my backyard. Y'all worry too much." I think even by 2000's internet standards that was a little bit much, and Pimp Solo shortly replied after, stating that he actually is nervous about his neighbor and will take precautions to make sure that they don't get hurt. Whether he would actually follow through on these precautions is another story, but nonetheless, the Sega Killer was soldered and mutual agreement reached with the commenters on safety precautions. Everything was set in stone, and Pimp Solo asked the question, tonight or tomorrow? If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. I'm a brand new channel, so any support means a lot. I'm really banking on the YouTube algorithm to kind of push this since I don't really have any popular socials or anything else. It'd mean a ton to me, I appreciate it a lot, thanks. Pimp Solo was enthusiastic and ready to go, filled with a fervor that he was not only doing this to save his own internet, but to save the community at large. His next significant update would come that night, posting a picture in full gear, saying that he is doing it. The topic exploded, reaching far beyond SomethingAwful, and a few hours later, Pimp Solo came back with his update.
Coming up on the neighbor's house here. I can see they have a light on. About to plug it in. Heard a hiss, and looks like I'm seeing oh shit. Okay, I am now unplugging.
Upon seeing the video, the users went wild in celebration, and Pimp Solo felt accomplished in his late night mission and headed to bed. While he was asleep, some commenters began to express disappointment at the quality of the video, but that would be the least of his concerns the next morning. Fire trucks lined the block, but Pimp Solo convinced himself it was merely a coincidence since they weren't directly over his neighbor's house, and he packed his things and went to class. The next update would come later that day upon his return, where he uploaded a few pictures and said he spoke to the neighbors, who said the firemen did not expect any arson or foul play. At this point, commenters began to have their doubts. Even the commenter who originally suggested the device chimed in. Nervous energy washed over the forum as people speculated that he was arrested, injured, avoiding the internet. Last time he went a few hours without an update, but now it's been a few days. And then, when he finally posted an update, it was shockingly similar as before. He said he's been busy with classes, thanked people for the support, and said he's not worried at all about being caught. I know hindsight can be 20/20, but he wasn't entirely stupid to be feeling this confident. He had a well of support, including someone claiming to be an electrical engineer that was telling him it was probably just a coincidence. You'd think this would be cause for him to walk away thankful, but instead he did the exact opposite, and doubled down even further. With hype on the thread slowly dying down, Pimp Solo had to craft a way to maintain attention, suggesting first that maybe he should steal the neighbor's satellite dish, before settling on creating an even more powerful etherkiller out of an old Atari body, which was named the Atari Killer. And with the newfound attention back on him, he feverishly set to work, building it much faster than before and planning to go out that night. The community was back and hooked and could not wait, and just as promised, later that night.
Alright, this is Pimp Solo and Silent Goon. We're making our way around the side of the house. I've already plugged in the extension cord to his outlet, and we are making our way to the cable box. Alright, I just unplugged the cable. I'm gonna flip the switch. Oh shit! Let's go. Oh, fuck.
If Pimp Solo thought he got a big response last time, this blew it out of the water. The other video was dark and hard to see, but this video clearly showed a TV short-circuiting from his device. His commenters not only felt like Pimp Solo had gotten his much-deserved revenge, but that they were also part of the story. Satisfied, Pimp Solo went to sleep and once again left the forum hanging without an update for a few days. When he did finally post an update, it was significantly more dramatic than anyone had expected. A group of police investigators knocked on his door with a printed copy of the SomethingAwful thread in its entirety. The police officer stated that he was a detective working specifically within internet-related crime, and he had been tipped off before the first Sega Killer was even built. The detective explained to Pimp Solo the felony repercussions of creating a device like that and asked him why he did it, to which Pimp Solo shrugged and said, "Internet popularity." Leaving the presumably teenage Pimp Solo with a warning and a threat to never do anything like that again, the detective took off. When one user asked Pimp Solo what the punishment from the law enforcement officers or cable company was, he replied in one of the final posts on the topic, "Well, the evidence my cable company doesn't care is the fact that I'm still browsing the internet right now. Bottom line is, I don't think anyone's getting in any trouble except for the hicks."